Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. The gold to silver ratio is rising. It's up 0.02% to 95.13 to 1, meaning it takes 95 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold, which is absolutely crazy, knowing that silver comes out of the ground roughly 8 to 1 compared to gold. So these numbers show that silver is extremely undervalued and gold is extremely exaggerated, over pumped into this system. So what does that mean? That's what this article is going to be talking about from Seeking Alpha. Before I want to go over these prices, we see gold at $1,644, up 0.15%, and we see silver looking very similar to gold at $17.32, up 0.22%. So things are looking upwards. The gold to silver ratio is also a great tool to use to see which is the better investment at this point in time. Right now, as the ratio is extremely high, this means that gold was the better buy, but when the ratio corrects back down to more level numbers, this means that silver is the better buy that has more potential. So anyways, the link to this article from from Seeking Alpha will be in the description. So the summary is last July, the gold to silver ratio came in within 10% of its 50-year high, which was reached in 1991, and within 15% of its multi-century high, which was reached in the early 1940s. One way to interpret the gold to silver ratio chart is that silver has huge upside potential relative to gold. I think this interpretation is correct, but there is a realistic chance that the ratio will make a new multi-century high, in effect a new all-time high, before silver embarks on a major upward trend relative to gold. So he's saying he thinks the ratio is going to go even higher, which is absolutely crazy. You can actually use the gold to silver ratio to your advantage to either get free silver or free gold by simply trading one for another as the ratio fluctuates. I'm sure a lot of you guys and gals do that, but it can be risky because it's hard to tell where the tops are, and it's hard to tell where, when the best time to trade is. But anyways, going on with this article, last July, the gold to silver ratio came within 10% of its 50-year high, which was reached in its 1991, and within 15% of its multi-century high, which was reached in the early 1940s. The following monthly chart from Gold Charts R Us shows that a monthly closing basis, the ratio has just made a new multi-decade high and was now within 10% of a 300-year high, meaning that silver has almost never been cheaper relative to gold than it is today, which is a great way to put it. Silver's never been this cheap compared to gold. Right now, if you are looking to find silver, as has a lot more potential than gold for these given reasons, you can go on APMEX, Bullion, Provident Metals. And it's a great start to start your stacking journey. Bullion as the beginner starter kit, where you can get 10 ounces of silver at spot price, which is a great deal, probably the best deal online. But yeah, so one way to interpret the gold to silver ratio chart is the silver has huge upside potential relative to gold. I think this interpretation is correct, but there is a realistic chance the ratio will make new multi-century highs, in effect a new all-time high, before silver embarks on a major upward trend relative to gold. And that's not if but when, by the way, my friends. Silver is going to make a huge come up. It's just being patient enough to wait for it. So this is not my preferred scenario, but a new all-time high in the gold to silver ratio could occur within the next 12 months due to major deflation scare. My next current expectation is that over the bulk of this year, there will be a US dollar weakness and signs of increasing quote-unquote inflation, which is a financial/economic landscape that would favor silver over gold and pave the way for some mean reversion in the gold to silver ratio. However, if the stock market bubble were to burst, economic confidence probably would tank and there would be a panic towards liquidity. For the general public, that would involve building up cash for any large investors, and it would also involve buying treasury bonds and gold. Gold is that safe haven investment, that safe haven alternative that everyone turns to. Silver eventually would benefit from the strength in the gold market. And he's talking about that because silver is gold's little brother, and anytime gold's going to make a huge move like that, expect silver to do so. See, silver moves just like gold, like we see in these charts. See, gold goes up right here. Silver does the same thing almost Exactly. It mimics it almost like a mirror. It's almost exactly the same amounts to the same percentages. See, silver follows what gold is doing. I am curious to see when these markets are going to break apart and when silver is going to have its own course, its own natural. Because silver has so many different uses apart from gold. It can almost be a completely different market to some extent. I don't like how gold and silver are pushed so closely together, but that's how the markets are right now, and that's the realistic standpoint. That's just what's happening. So we have to look at the facts, given circumstances, apply that with the economy, and see where the prices are headed. Right now, it's looking like gold and silver, for the meantime, are going to be closely related. Now, anyways, and it's so funny because they're closely related, but the gold to silver ratio is also extremely exaggerated. So on one end, they move together, but on the other end, they're actually way apart. Way, way, way too far apart. Where was I at? For the general public, so gold. So silver eventually would benefit from the strength in the gold market, but the silver market is not big enough to to accommodate, and liquid enough. So the silver market's not big and liquid enough to accommodate investors who are in a hurry to find safe home for billions of dollars of wealth. See, silver market is extremely small. And that's one of the downfalls that comes with silver compared to gold, where gold is it's very convenient, especially if you have a lot of money. You can fit $100,000 of gold in a shoebox. You cannot do that with silver. See, gold, especially for these big-time investors, the ones that actually could affect the markets, silver just too small of a market for them. They're looking at gold, where they can actually put billions of dollars of wealth in. So initially, therefore, the gold to silver ratio could rise sharply under such a scenario, as these big-time investors looking towards gold, because silver just isn't convenient for them, meaning the ratio would actually drag on even higher. So the scenario described above would lead to panic at the Fed, eventually resulting in the introduction of the most aggressive asset monetization scheme to date, and that's the point where silver probably would commence a major catch-up move. So I thought this was a really good article, and it explained a lot between gold versus silver. See, gold has its benefits, but very few compared to silver, and that's the whole point of this video as well, is to showcase that silver actually has a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential with the silver markets, and I hope that you guys can see this, because a lot of people, like if you're a newcomer into gold and into the precious metals world, you're going to say, well, gold's the royal metal. Why would I invest into silver? Isn't gold the one that everyone wants? That's the shiny metal. That's the best one. No, that's actually not the case. It's actually not the case whatsoever. And actually, these metals aren't valued off of how shiny they are. There's actually a lot of fundamental uses that these metals bring into the everyday world, and silver just happens to be the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, making it extremely valuable, especially in the technological era we're advancing in. So when you're looking at gold versus silver, silver has the upper hand for the more opportunistic, more highly potential metal to really fluctuate higher in prices, because silver is volatile. There's a lot of volatility in the silver markets as well, and that's also, it hits higher highs and lower lows, which gives potential towards people who like to trade or marginal trade, because there is the digital side of things, the paper side. You can invest in the silver ETFs, SILV, that side of it, or you can invest into the physical bullion, which people like you and I most likely do, because if you can't hold it, you don't own it. And that's where silver's true value is the metal content. It's not really the spot price attached to it, it's more of the metal content that's inside of these coins. So anyways, just to recap a little bit, gold does have its benefits, but mainly for larger investors. Silver is much cheaper. The gold to silver ratio is way too exaggerated at 95-1, meaning it takes 95 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. And right now we see these markets, looking like something big could be happening, especially if the ratio gets higher. It's only screaming for silver to jump up with those prices as well. Now, I'm also hosting a giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free silver, I posted a video earlier this week. It'll be very simple to find, very easy to find. It's just titled "Click here to win free silver," and you will have a chance to win. I'm going to probably be doing that giveaway today or tomorrow. So if you want a chance to win some free silver, go over there and check that out. Like I said before, the link to this article will be in the description. I'm curious, how high do you think the gold to silver ratio is going to go before everything crumbles and the ratio corrects back to more normal measures? I'm curious. I don't know if it would hit above 100. That's going to be crazy if it does. I think they said 300-year highs if that does happen, which would be absolutely incredible, but also very, they'd be pointing towards silver extremely fast. So anyways, thanks for tuning in this video. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.